Hello again. This time I've created a video just to help you create quizzes and questionnaires using Google Forms. And it's a quite easy way of getting someone else's opinion about something. So what then is it? A questionnaire is a list of questions that you want someone to answer, and they can answer either anonymously or as a Google user. In this case, we're going to talk about it as a Google user, meaning that someone logs in to be able to answer. A quiz then is a questionnaire, but you give the right or wrong answers and you get sort of points for how well you do. So, getting started. In the upper right corner you see the 9 dots next to your own picture, and you click that one and then you click forms. It'll get you to this little fellow, so it's open a quiz, and you do that by clicking this purple file, and it's called MD quiz, so that's quite easy to do. So this will be the opening page, and we'll go into all of the details in this video, but this is what it looks like when you start your quiz. Now, what's the first thing you do? You need to name your quiz, and you do that in 2 places. The first upper left corner there is for you to be able to find your quiz, because if you don't name it, you'll have a bunch of quizzes and you have no idea which one is the one you're looking for. The second quiz will be the name that will be shown when someone looks at the quiz. The second thing I wanted to do is to add each other and me as editors in this quiz. So you do that by pressing 3 buttons, the 3 dots, and then add editors. And as you can see here, this is where you add editors. If you're in a group doing creating a quiz, it's a good idea to have everyone to be able to edit it. So if someone should be gone, or if someone is working on from a distance, you can then work on different parts. As you can see, I own this quiz, which is why I'm there, but I'd like you to add me as an editor as well. That way I can go in and check people's answers to your quiz. We'll get to that later. Next thing I wanted to do is to change some of the settings. And in the upper right corner again, you can see there is a little cogwheel, and that's settings. And you go to this cogwheel, click it, and it asks, I'd like you to take the gather email addresses it's not a default setting, so you have to click it. Okay, so now it's time to start posing questions, and as you can see, I haven't named my quiz yet, and you'll see in later pictures that I have. But here you ask the first question, and as you can see, there are different types of questions, and we'll get into that a little later. In this case, it's a multiple choice question. And I'd like you to make sure that the question you are posing is a mandatory question. You have to answer the question to be able to hand in your answers. And here we have the options. I've written down 3 options. I have Elvis, Cher, and Madonna. And if you want everyone to know the correct answer, you then have to click the bottom at the button at the very bottom, Svarsknapp. If you can't see it, then you haven't created a quiz, and you'll have to go up into settings, the little cogwheel we just looked at, and the third option will be to click in to make it a quiz. Okay, so now I've created a quiz, and I see here Elvis is the correct answer. And you can also add feedback if you'd like. You don't have to do that. And I've also changed the number of points you can get for this question. Now it could be 1 point, could be 10. That's your prerogative. And when you're finished, you click on the finished button at the very bottom. And if you now go back to the question, which you should come back to after clicking finished, you can see now that Elvis is the correct answer. There's a green tick, and you can also see that it's worth 1 point. Now Google Translate isn't always that good. It says punkt, which is, point can be two things. It could also, or it could be punkt, but it can also be poäng. So in this case, they've just translated it incorrectly. It's supposed to be poäng. Okay, other settings is that you can remove an answer if you feel that you want to have another one. But you can also remove the entire question if you feel like it. But let's say you're happy with the question. There are two ways of making a new question. One is to just copy this question you have here, which is a good alternative if you're asking sort of the same question. So in this case, what's the name of my cat? The next question might be, how old is my cat? The next question might be, what's the color of my cat? And so on and so forth, meaning that it sort of looks the same, but you then have to sort of course, change the answers, the correct answers, and all of that. But it's an easy way of just copying the previous question. Another way is to click this little plus sign, and it works just as well. So there are different types of questions. This is a multiple choice one. But if you click on that little arrow, you get a whole bunch of different types of questions. There's the multiple choice, you can see there, flerval, kryssrutor, listrutor. They're sort of different types, you can experiment with them. And then there are written answers at the top. You could sort of have them do a short answer or a longer one. You can also have a scale question, and there are different types of, what you can fill in, depending on what you want answered. We're going to concentrate on multiple choice and written answers in this one. Different types of questions then. So I've chosen to write down the question, how old is he? Now, if anyone gets the correct answer, you can see that I've posted the right answer using svarsknapp as 8 years old or 8 years. Now, of course, I've added two answers to that after this, which is 8 with the letters. So GHT, spelling out 8, of course. And you can see that there's a little asterisk after the second question here, or the third altogether. And that's because you've made the question mandatory for you to answer. That's why that looks like that. Now, this question here is it's called a linear question. It is quite different, and it doesn't really suit in a quiz. You'll see that later on. But this is if you're asking a questionnaire or something like that, and you want to know how much you like something or whatever. So in this case, how much do you love cats? And of course, who doesn't love cats? And then super duper a lot. And you have to sort of click in somewhere on that scale. And you can add pictures to your questionnaire or your quiz. And if you hover near the the question and the answer, you can see this little symbol appear. There's a square with what looks like a mountain range. So you would click those and you would add pictures. So it looks something like this. I've added my Elvis and the original Elvis to this. I've added picture for the other ones as well, but I couldn't fit them in. And if you're feeling finished with your quiz, you've answered, you've posted all the questions that you want answered. Then you move up to the upper right corner, and there are a few buttons here that you can use. The first one that looks like a piece of a puzzle is called add-ons. I haven't used those very much, so I won't go into that. But the second one, sort of looks like a painter's palette, is where you can change the theme. So you can change colors, pictures at the top, and so on and so forth. You can do a preview of your quiz or your questionnaire, and of course there's the settings here as well that we looked at before, but in this case we're going right. So we've chosen to do preview here. We can have a look at what the quiz will look like. You can, for example, see that I've changed the theme. There are cats everywhere, of course. And you can also see that I've made sure to add pictures everywhere, that I want pictures. And here you're supposed to just tick an answer that is correct. So in this case, Elvis. And then you've got the next question, which is how old is he and how much do you love cats? Once you've done with all of the questions, and you can see there are red asterisks after each question, you click send down there at the bottom. Okay, so this will appear if you've clicked send, that your answer has been registered, and if you want you can show the results. And of course we know that Elvis is the correct answer, so that was a correct answer, but since I wrote 2 on Elvis, that is incorrect. And also you can see that the last question is a wrong answer, and that is because it doesn't really fit a quiz, this question. So I would actually go back, close the preview, and edit my quiz, and I would go back to that question in particular, and I would just throw it away because it doesn't work. Now you can see that one person has answered your quiz. You can see that at the very top of the quiz, above the cats, and you can also see that I've asked anyone who's doing this to that we can see their email address. So the first thing you'll see if you go to answers is a summary of all the answers. Now, since there's only one, the summary is a bit pointless. But if you have 10 or 15 people, then you can see how many people got 3 points, 1 point, whatever you have. You can click on next to sammanfattning, it says fråga, question, and here you can see the answers per question, how many people got the correct answers for a particular question. And you can also go to individual answers. In this case you can see that I've had to log in my email address, and I answered different questions, and you can see my answers for each. And in this case, since I'm going to remove my own answer because it isn't really valid for the summary of answers and all of that, so I'm removing this. And it asks me if I really want to remove it, since I can't regret it, and I say yes, and then 0 answers are left, of course. So now you feel that everything is finished. You've previewed, you've done everything you should. Now it's time to post a quiz. And there are three, and you click on this button here, says Skicka. And there are three ways of doing it. You can either email someone the quiz, or you can have a link to it, or you can embed HTML. Now, if you want to do the email route, you click on the first one. It's you can see a little envelope, and it's a good idea to have a message. There is a given message. You can just use the one that's been given. You can also go into link and send a link, and that's the second choice here, and it'll give you the longest link you could ever imagine. I would suggest you shorten the link so that it's more manageable for the people who are answering it, and then you copy the link and you post it in Classroom or somewhere, wherever you want. You can also see that if you wanted to, you can post it on Facebook or on Twitter. The final type of posting of a link is an embedded HTML. I'm not quite sure how to work this, so we won't go any further into this, but if someone likes creating web pages, go right ahead, use that. Now, as I said, I'd like you to post your links in Classroom. I've created a class here just for this purpose. It's called testing. And I've clicked on adding a post in the Classroom in the flow, and it's a good idea to have the title of the quiz just so that people know which one it is. And then you add the link either by posting it directly into the post, or you click on add, which is lägg till, and there you can see a link of things you can choose, a link, and it'll look like this when you're finished: a post by me and a link to the form. Thank you for watching my video about forms and how to create quizzes. I hope that that has been clear enough, and you're being helped by it. There's a link here to the quiz. I'm not sure how, you already know the answer, so and it's only 2, so. But if anyone wants to work the quiz that I created, this is the link for it. So hopefully I'll see a lot of quizzes in Classroom. Bye.